How much do we actually love Johni Broome? We're going to find out tonight.
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
Yes, sir. We're back. It's another edition of the Top Button Podcast live with Kyle Rush, Zach Blackerby, ready to have some fun. Going to talk a little bit of Auburn basketball. Going to talk Junior Day. How much do we love Johni Broome? Me is going to be way up there. I'm not sure about Zach. We'll find out in just a minute. And then just overall have some fun, get in the chat, have some fun as well. You guys need to check out us, need to sign up for the barnauburn.com. Use there is no coupon code. If you just sign up now, you get $25 off your annual membership for the whole year of 2025. So $75 for an annual membership. You get all the recruiting information and then the community as well, which is a ton of fun. It's really a really fun place to hang out. And I saw a guy today at lunch after church. He was like, "Hey man, love the barn." And
we got some stuff coming too. We've got some stuff coming.
Fun shows coming. Got some cool video content, breakdowns and stuff like that. So definitely want to check it out. Check it out while you can. Zach, I want you to rank how much you love Johni Broome in all of the things that you love in your life. Like where does he stack up?
Wow.
I'll put you on the spot.
Rank. I just wasn't expecting you to ask it that way. I mean, how do you rank? Like you wake up thinking about them.
Yes.
You go to bed thinking about them. A few nights after his injury, you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, I wish I could give him my ankle. Like, how do you rank something like that? I mean, right after my family and loved ones, I guess. Yeah. It's up there, Kyle.
Depending on the day and which one is behaving the best. Like he could fall somewhere in between my kids. Somewhere. This guy's just been so awesome to watch and to think that he was hobbled like he was, Zach, and to play 33 minutes in his game. We were talking like what? We're hoping he would get what? 10, 15 minutes of gameplay.
What? I thought if he was going to play, it would be full minutes. I didn't think they were going to like ease him back into it.
Yeah.
Well, so when he played, I expected a full load of action. But yeah, I mean, you're right as far as ranking them in between children. Like none of my kids can do the back to basket stuff that he's able to do.
Neither one of my kids have ever had a double ever.
Yeah, they've got 2 working ankles.
In the SEC, I mean, it's never happened. They've never done that. And Johni does it seemingly every night. So go ahead.
All seriousness though, like my wife and I, we went up to Birmingham to celebrate. We got some friends that are getting married. We were celebrating them. And we had a deep philosophical, we didn't know anybody else. And, they were talking to other folks. So we were just like sitting in the corner having deep philosophical conversations. And I'm like, I think Johni Broome's my second favorite Auburn Tiger ever. And she's like,
of any sport.
She asked basketball. And I'm like, no, I think ever. It's been so fun to watch him for so long and just the natural maturation. And the guy is a champion, like a literal champion, both as far as accolades and as far as just mindset. And he's obviously a warrior. Oh my goodness. We figured that out last night. If you had any doubt, Johni Broome is a warrior. So yeah, like how much do I love Johni Broome? I think he's my second favorite Auburn Tiger ever.
Who's your first?
Cam.
Okay, well that's easy. Wow, so that's up there. Cam, and then he's number 2. I feel like there's a pretty big gap there, but still, I can see that argument. He's definitely. I can admit that I have not watched Auburn basketball as much until I got to college. So I definitely didn't watch it much prior. So over the last, 20 years or so, and he would be up there. Kareem Canty was really fun for right before he kind of lost his mind. But he's got to be the top. He's got to be the top for this period of time. is there any doubt? I saw an interesting comment, and I'm going to come back to it in just a second. I want to ask your opinion on it. But is there any doubt? Like, there's no doubt he's the best player in the SEC. So the question will be, where does he rank at the end of this season as far as Player of the Year accolades? I mean, am I wrong on the SEC part?
I don't know who else it would be.
Yeah, I'm just looking at like top scorers. You got Trey Johnson, Mark Sears, Jalen Moore, and then Chaz Lanier, who I doubt I don't even remember that name from Tennessee. And then Janai's. Janai's 5th in scoring. He's 1st in rebounds, 1st in blocks.
Do you have it sorted by total or by like per game?
Those are averages per game. He's played a couple less games than some of these other guys.
Yeah, so how much does that hurt him? I don't know.
But I mean, still, there's only 1 point per game difference between him and the leading scorer in the conference, and then he's got more rebounds and more blocks than everybody. It's just what a year.
Yeah.
What a year. He comes back, plays 33 minutes, has a double-double.
Who's your first and second favorite Auburn Tiger of all time?
That's a really good question.
You asked me deep personal questions on the air. Let me ask you one now.
So what's funny is now
live chat. Let's hear it too. I want to hear that too. A lot of people saying Bo, like Bo played like before I was born.
Yeah.
I love Bo Jackson.
Damian Craig always was one of my favorite players. And then recently he's made me mad. So, but I can't, he even though he's made me mad, he can't
great
take away
receiver coach at Auburn.
Yeah. He can't take away the Auburn memories. I never will forget. We're playing Army in the Army in a bowl game, and Army shoots the cannons off after a quarter. And and they had the camera on Damian for some reason. And for whatever reason, the cannon goes off after the first quarter, and for whatever reason, the camera was on Damian, and you would have thought that the stadium was under attack. Like, he went to the ground. It's hilarious. I'll never forget it. But Damian Craig was probably one of my favorite players of all time. And then obviously Cam for football. And then I got to throw Janai's got to be in there as well. So he's got to be in my top 5 of all time. Go ahead.
And I'm not saying he's the second best Auburn Tiger of all time. There's some pushback in the chat. It's my second favorite. This is my list, Thomas Jones. As much as I love you, I feel like you're coming a little hard at me. It's my list. No, I'm joking.
You got to remember, Thomas, we're a lot younger than you. So we don't remember Bo. I wish I would love to see Frank Thomas.
Kyle's 10 years older than me. So I just want to put that out there.
Oh, come on, man. Let me live in the moment. Let me live in the moment right now. No, it's been really fun. I want to ask you this question. I just saw this come up.
Yeah.
People are, wait, no, that's not it. Let me find it. It was something about the flow of the game. And it was a weird game.
I saw Floppy Toppy's name come up, and my heart skipped a beat. It's like, I hope it wasn't. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know what he's going to say.
Do you think Johni Broome disrupted the flow of the team? I'm just curious. I saw somebody said they saw that elsewhere. People talking about Johni coming back disrupted the flow of the team.
No, I think playing a really good Tennessee team that allows the fewest points per game than anybody in the SEC. I think that was the big factor here. And like, we all knew this was coming. Like, you're going to have a few nights a year where your shots aren't going to fall.
Okay.
Or your sharks.
Or your sharks. Though they always fall.
Yeah, I guess so.
No,
I guess so.
Yeah, I don't know that. I would not say that he disrupted the flow, because I didn't feel like we were really trying to feed him the ball. Like, he did get 17 shots off, but I don't feel like we were just constantly trying to feed him and getting out of our offensive rhythm. We had a ton of good looks, Zach. Like, Denver had several just like by himself 3-point shots. Tahaad had those step back threes that he makes a lot of. He didn't make any of them.
Yeah, this wasn't like Wendell Green just throwing stuff up. Like, the guys were open. They didn't fall.
Yeah, I did not feel like we were really doing anything different on offense at all, really. It just, for whatever reason, and this happens, I did not think this team could go that bad, and it'll probably never happen again. But I just think for whatever reason, shots just weren't going in. And Tennessee had a lot to do with it. They played that game exactly how they wanted to play it. They wanted to slow it down so much that they were going to take shots late in the clock, make it a half-court game, and it worked out perfectly. There's a funny story of Frank Tolbert. He's the high school basketball coach, a famous high school basketball coach at Auburn High. He was playing. This was around the year Jeremy Johnson was at Carver, and Carver was just awesome at basketball. They were so good. And they were asking what the strategy was. And he said, we're going to slow the game down. We're going to slow it down so much, we're going to walk in warm-ups. We're going to walk through warm-ups. So then that's what I felt like Tennessee did. And they did it to perfection, and they almost won the game.
Yeah, they did almost win the game.
Yeah.
And I mean, they had a 4-point lead in the last 2 minutes or so of the game. So then this Auburn roster realized oh yeah, wait, we don't lose. We don't lose that often. So let's find a way. And of course, Johni stepped up, Tahaad stepped up, Miles stepped up in those last few minutes. And that's the thing. And I talked about this when I went live after. It's Auburn's down 4, and you still kind of had I still thought Auburn was going to win the basketball game. And to me, that's what's so special about this team is they're never out of it.
No, there was one point where I think they were up 3 or something like that, and they had a possession, and I thought if they score here, it's going to make it tough.
Yeah,
that we stopped them. I think that may have been one of the big blocks, maybe Miles Kelly, one of the big blocks. I can't remember exactly the sequence of events, but I was like, man, if they score right here, it's just around 2 minutes. It's going to be tough for us to make up that difference just because we're not shooting very well. We made the stop, and then you know the rest. We hit the big 3 at the end, and you felt like that was coming. Yeah,
law of averages, right? With this team, it's somebody's got to do it. And Miles had one a few minutes prior, and I didn't realize his birthday was today. So cool for him to have, that iconic block I've seen so many great pictures come from that. And then obviously that shot at the end. And then now he gets to celebrate his birthday today, which is super, super cool.
We live, Donovan. We're live. 100%.
We are so live, Donovan. We are so here with you.
You mentioned something earlier, and I think it's worth a discussion. There's been a lot of talk about Denver's in a little bit of an offensive slump. Okay, I would say that's a fair assertion. It's a little bit of a slump over the last 3 or 4 games. Tahaad, however, has been sort of like an offensive spark at times. Some people, I'm seeing some people, hey, Tahaad is plus all this in the plus minus. Denver's negative this in all the plus minus. We got to get Tahaad more minutes. We got to do this. We got to do that. I don't know where I really fall yet on that. I don't really know 100% how I fall. What do you think about this whole Denver versus Tahaad situation that you got going on right now?
Yeah. I think with Denver, I mean, he's kind of shown that he is a streaky shooter. We saw this last year. It was kind of the opposite. It was around now where he started picking up his game a year ago. It took him a while to get going. And I don't think there was any way he was going to stay as hot as he was from 3 during that stretch. Where is it?
A 4-game stretch where he shot over 70% from 3 or something like that.
Yeah, Ohio State, he was 4 of 5 from 3. Georgia State, 5 of 7. Purdue, 3 of 6. Monmouth, 3 for 3. That was a pretty ridiculous run there. And I mean, and even since then, he had 10 against Texas, 10 against Missouri, 13 against Mississippi State. He had 8 against Georgia. I don't think he's this isn't we love Zepp, but Denver is contributing more on offense than we've seen other point guards recently do. But also, I don't think Bruce Pearl cares. I mean, Denver's the starting guy. Now, do you possibly change how often Tahaad plays? Possibly, but as far as who should start or whatever, I don't know how you make Denver not the guy you run out there first.
I'm with you. So I think Ziegler was 4 of 15 from the field or something like that, which it felt like he scored more than that. But he was 4 of 15. And it's especially down the stretch there, if he makes 2 more baskets, they win the game. Like that's got to be a really tough situation for Bruce there, because it's like Denver's my best defender and he's doing really well against this kid. He's 0 for 6 from 3. He's locking him down for the most part on defense, keeping him below his averages as far as percentage goes, like shot a very poor percentage. If you take him out, I mean, again, 2 baskets change the game. Are you guaranteeing that if Tahaad goes in, he scores those 2 baskets? No, you can't say that. But I mean, I can see the struggle there. But late in the game, when they had to get a little bit of offense, they put Tahaad in. He gets an and one. I think he's managing it perfectly. I really do. Could there be a few more minutes? Sure, but I almost wonder if it could have been a detriment if he had Tahaad out there longer. Right before the end of the game, whenever you had to have multiple stops when you were behind a little bit. I don't know. I think it's kind of being handled perfectly, but
yeah, you also can't overreact with. I mean, you're not going to play a team built like that.
Sure.
Again, unless you play Tennessee again in the SEC tournament or the NCAA tournament, like you're just not. I thought there was a big bug on my wall. Sorry, I don't know why I thought that. That was really strange. I'm so sorry. But I mean, last night, I mean, Auburn was so bad scoring by pretty much everybody. I mean, even Johni, who had 16, he was still 7 of 19, which is very uncharacteristic.
He missed 12 shots. Bruce let everybody know.
Yeah, way to go, Bruce.
Double. He said he had a triple-double. He had 16 points, 10 rebounds, and 12 missed shots or something like that.
Yeah.
Which that's a great line.
I mean, Denver was 0 of 8. Chad was 0 for 5. Miles Kelly, 2 of 8, like wasn't great shooting, but thank goodness he made those 2. Yeah, goodness gracious. And then who else? Yeah, and then like Johni was 7 of 19. Tahaad was 0 for 4 from 3. Yeah. Like, I mean, it was just a brutal night scoring, but still somehow you beat the number 6 team in the country. Like, let's don't overreact. We all thought it would be muddy.
Yeah.
Tennessee got it as muddy as possible, and you found a way to win.
I thought it would have been maybe like 65-63 though. Like, not as bad offensively as it was, but it is what it is. You come out with a win. Auburn's now 11-1 in quad 1 wins. They're just absolutely running through these quad 1 opportunities. The record is 16 in a season. I think Auburn's got upwards of 7 to 8 more opportunities.
Sure.
I mean, you're looking at you have the opportunity. You're looking at possibly having a resume for being one of the best teams ever. Like you have the resume.
There it is.
Opportunity to be one of the best teams ever.
Yeah, and I think that's what this team feels like. I mean, doesn't it feel like that? Like this team does feel different. We've watched a lot of good basketball teams come in, but to the point where like they still have moments, and I say this all the time, like they keep finding ways to impress me. They keep finding ways to blow me away. And whether it's, winning Maui or, just absolutely dismantling a pretty good Purdue team or, what they did at Houston. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And to me, I guess the most recent one was like they dismantle Mississippi State without Johni Broome. It's like, oh my goodness. And that was kind of the moment where you saw national media and conference-wide media say like, hold up.
Oh my goodness.
Hold on.
They're not a one-man show.
And then, I mean, I think what they did last night was impressive as well. With you just kind of we listed all the, the shooting percentages of the roster. I mean, it was terrible. It's really, really bad. You still beat the number 6 team in college basketball. So yeah, this team is special. There's no question about it. And if they have the best regular season ever, can back it up with an epic postseason run, like sure, why can't we have that conversation?
I'm down. KenPom has a project. They do the analytical projections of every single game over the season, and they project Auburn to finish 16-2 in conference. I mean, this is a year where I would have thought 14-4 or 15-3 maybe has a shot to win the title. And they have in one of the toughest years ever, where the SEC could have upwards of like 11 teams in the tournament, and you have at least the analytics think you could possibly go 16-2. I'll take 15-3 right now and be very happy. It's just they just keep doing stuff. And I think
they projected 4 losses for Bama, right? Floppy Toppy's asking that.
Yes, I think that's correct.
I think that's right. Because they had Auburn winning the SEC by like 4 games.
No. They had it at 12-6 for Alabama.
Okay. They had Auburn winning it by 4.
That was the next closest team.
There's no way that happens, right? There's no way Auburn wins it by 4 games.
No, probably not. And it'd be hard to find 6 losses on Alabama's schedule. They got to go to Auburn, to Tennessee, to Mississippi State next. I think that's the very next game is they play at Mississippi State. And they still got to play Kentucky, still got to play Florida. They still have a tough little stretch to close this thing out. But man, could be a historic year. You just gotta finish, got to keep going. We play LSU, which that should be I guess no team is a given, but they're one of the weaker teams in the SEC. You go to LSU, and then you play a really tough one on the road against Ole Miss this next week. So got to try to find a way to go 2-0, keep going 2-0 every week, and then you'll be right where you want to be. I've seen a couple of people asking about it. Let's just go ahead and talk about it. Let's just go ahead and talk about Jakai Howard. I know it's uncomfortable. I know it kind of is what it is, but there was an exchange at some point in the game, and I think this sort of carried over from Friday, from what I understand from Friday's practice. It's the tale as old as time, where I feel like I'm better than the minutes that I'm getting. And I think there was an exchange between he and Bruce in a timeout, and I think Bruce told him to go to the locker room.
Yeah.
And he did stand up for him at the end of at the post-game press conference. I think he said, we had a conversation then, we had a conversation again. At some point, Zach, I'm trying to think of the best way to ask this. At what point does this start becoming, it should already be a problem, but at what point does this become like maybe a distraction to where
the fight on the plane, I think, is when this became a distraction.
Yeah. And then just it's sort of like it's not getting better. And I don't really understand why.
Yeah, because so my question is like, okay, he stays throughout this year, but like you're telling me he's not going to leave? Like you're telling me that he's staying in this age of the portal? Like you're telling me the odds of him being on the roster next year are higher than him not? Like I don't see the path to that working out long term. So if you think he can help you win a championship this year, do whatever you can. But there's such a big difference with thinking something and then like acting a certain way. I love that he thinks he deserves more minutes.
Yeah.
You want every player to feel that way. You want every player to think, I am good. I'm special. I know this is the number 1 team in college basketball, but like I'm better than some of these guys in front of me. I love that mindset, but it doesn't give you the right to act a certain way and to be disrespectful to coaches and your teammates, which it sounds like they've been super, super supportive on.
Incredibly supportive.
Yeah. So, it sounds like this has been a thing that's been happening for a while. I hope it all gets evened out, but this one was a little bit more public than it needed to be. This is something you just need to have the level of maturity and discipline to say, let's hash this out when the game is over.
Not in the middle of it.
Yeah, this is like the second biggest home game of the season. The other one being Bama at the end of the year. Like, let's close this out first and not make this about me. And let's focus on winning the game that's in front of us. And kids are emotional, right? That's part of it. And that's what makes this team so special is they are emotional and they are, going to play harder than any team in the country and all that. But I think it is concerning for sure.
Yeah, it's very concerning. I saw a lot of people trying to compare it to Chad. Like, oh, you had some issues with Chad in the past, like you can get through it. And the difference is, to me, you had the outburst, I guess, in the NCAA tournament last year that ended up getting him tossed. And then last year he was always kind of, it felt like he was right there on the razor's edge of getting a technical. And the thing is, he's really turned it around, in my opinion.
He seems like a leader. He seems like
he gave up minutes.
Team.
He gave up some minutes for Jakai to get some experience. I mean, that was a big thing. Chad gave up some minutes so that Jakai could get more time to play. So those two things aren't really comparable. Like, this is something. I mean, Bruce has had some guys that have had, issues in the past. Like, he's had some guys and he's had success with those guys. So it's not like this is something that's out of the ordinary. It's not like something that's, we haven't ever dealt with, but this is going to like a whole nother level. I mean, something's got to give, or else.
Well, especially like with the track record of how Bruce Pearl has handled rotations over the last few years. What did you expect to happen?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way they promised him like 20 minutes a game. No. There's no way. So my question is, like, did you not see how this program has been running and been successful over the last few years?
Yeah.
It's like, if you're going to play for Bruce Pearl, like, you're not going to play as much minutes as you could other places, but you better play hard when you're in there. And I don't know if all those boxes are being checked.
And it may be Bruce is very big on defense. And I think that was the big fight, was over a defensive possession where he didn't close out and a guy hit a three. And I think that was what the fight was over. So I don't know, man. I really like Jakai. I think he could be a very, very fun player for Auburn. I think he could be a very good player. And I tell you what,
gifted physically.
He could be a beloved. He could be a beloved player at Auburn just because of the way that he plays and all of the fun things that he can do. But man, oh man, gotta reel it in, bro. We gotta reel it in. Like, you can't do this. Can't do this against the biggest game of the year. Just can't. It cannot happen. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that, and then I guess the last thing we can talk about is Junior Day. I sat right beside the recruit section. They were obviously having a lot of fun. How much do you think a game like that, if anything, makes an impact on a recruit, like a basketball game of that caliber?
I think it makes an impact. It probably varies from kid to kid, but I think overall energy is a good thing. I also love that this was the game where they announced and welcomed all the new football players.
That was definitely by design.
Oh, 100%. Make those guys look like rock stars in the biggest stage of the day in college basketball. I think that's pretthis cool. That's pretty cool. So I think stuff like that matters. I think overall culture matters. I think anytime you can, this is a big thing in marketing. Like, anytime you can compare your brand and put it next to something that's perceived as good, is something. And so they're seeing, the number one next to Auburn's name. Like, even though it's not the sport you're going to play, I do think that stuff matters. And it was probably a good opportunity to have some fun and, bond with each other, other recruits, as well as the coaching staff and all of that. So yeah, I think it's huge. I was talking,
I guess, to myself on my show, because I talk to myself, but I was looking at the number of just the overall number of recruits that were there, and then like your high caliber guys. And Zach, there was more top caliber guys. When I say top caliber, I'm talking about top 10 overall players, top 100 overall players that were here even over Big Cat weekend this past July or whenever it was, which is really hard to even fathom in January that could be the case. But by all accounts, it seems like they hit it out of the park with a lot of guys. Of the guys that visited this weekend, who are you most excited about, or who do you feel like Auburn is going to make the biggest impact with, or made the biggest impact on? Like, who's your guy out of these dudes that came?
Probably Vodney Cleveland. I really like him. I really think Denarius Gray is somebody that Auburn is taking for granted right now. Not the coaches or anything, but I just think, like, he's been committed for over a year and there's not a whole lot of chatter about him. And now, like, you're starting to see, like, oh, Ohio State's pushing really hard for him. I think he got a Notre Dame offer as well. And it's like, okay,
Georgia,
Auburn. Yeah. Georgia. Auburn was a year ahead of all of these guys.
Yeah.
And there was some chatter, like there's some, like, I think it was just a fan, like, is Denarius Gray still committed to Auburn? And he like replied to that fan on Twitter as like a picture of him and Hugh Freeze, like, from this weekend. Like, I think that stuff is huge. So I think Denarius Gray, even though he's a commit, I think holding on to him is going to be super, super important.
Oh, I've been very worried about him for the same reasons that you just mentioned.
Me too.
Auburn not necessarily Auburn, like you said, the staff, but just, he's all the way down in South Florida. He's starting to pick up all these offers from, like you said, Ohio State and those guys. Like, I almost was like maybe even planning for him not to be in the class eventually. But I think it was really.
Hey, don't say that again.
I know. And I'm like the most positive. I'm like the most positive guy out there. But that was one thing I was kind of preparing myself for. So yeah, for him to come and do that, that was really big. Hey, I saw the quarterback in person at the basketball game, Travis Burgess.
Yeah,
impressive looking kid. I mean, he's
we talked about it last week. It's like everything about that guy looks better than where he's being ranked. I mean, the school he plays for, his stats, his frame. He can throw the football. Like, there's a lot to like about him.
He's true. 100% 6'4". There's no doubt about it. Like,
how close did you get to him?
We were shoulder to shoulder. His shoulder was higher than mine. His shoulder was higher than mine.
You stood right next to him? Did you say anything to him?
No, I didn't. I wasn't 100% sure, but then it was him. But then I kind of realized.
At what moment did you realize it was him?
When I was walking away, I was like, "Dang, that was definitely Travis Burgess." But no, he's a good looking kid. But I'm with you, Vodney, man. Ernest Ranking is another kid that came in that I think really jumped up the board. I think everybody was really impressed with him and his family and everybody. So it's early. It's still really early. I mean, we're a year away almost from signing day, but holy cow, what a way to kick off the year. And I don't see that momentum slowing down anytime soon. Hopefully we get
unless they lose a lot of games. That's the only thing that could stop it. I mean, you can only sell vision for so long, but man, they are selling it hard and they're doing a good job.
Agree. I feel like maybe closing in on another 2025 commit to who I love, one of my favorite players in the whole class, Omar Mabson. That'll be one to probably watch this week.
He's one of your favorite players in the entire class
of 2025.
Yeah.
Now that he reclassified, he's legit. He is as good as it gets for a high school running back.
Who's your favorite player in the 2025 class?
Jordan Crawford, without a doubt. I've always said Jordan Crawford. He's my favorite player in the whole class. He looks like a junior in college right now, and he's probably going to play right away. So we'll see what happens this week. A lot of action going on. Zach, any final thoughts? Any final words before we sign off?
No, I don't think so.
Well, tell them where they can find you and love you and support you.
The Barn, thebarnauburn.com. We've got a new show dropping at the Barn this week. That announcement's coming tomorrow. Awesome. It involves somebody well-known in the Auburn media space already. It involves someone else well-known in the Auburn media space already. And it involves a former Auburn player that played, that played at a very high level very recently. And so that'll be announced tomorrow. So be sure to stay tuned.
And when it's announced, it will turn heads. It'll be the best show of that caliber.
If that's something you care about, it will be the best show on your radar.
Definitely be tied to social media tomorrow for that. And then we also have I got some really fun film breakdown content that's coming out this Tuesday and Thursday. So be on the lookout for that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Just a lot of stuff going on. So definitely give us a chance at thebarnauburn.com. Take $25 off your annual membership for 2025 and join in the fun. So guys, appreciate it. Thanks for jumping in. Thanks for the comments in the comment section. If you like this video, like it. If you like this channel, subscribe to it. We're going to be back again every single day this week. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening and drive home safely.